Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day so far. In this video, I'm going to be going over if I think Carnival Cruise Line stock is a buy, a sell, or a hold at this point. And I'm also going to be giving the results of a trade that just completed on a stock that I did a video about, so stick around for that as well. Now, before I get to the video, I just want to say thank you for subscribing and hitting the like button on past videos. I really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, I like to find short-term and long-term trading and investing opportunities in typically lower-priced stocks. I like to look for diamonds in the rough, undervalued, underappreciated stocks with high growth potential, as well as all other things finance-related. Now, if that's something that interests you, please subscribe so you don't miss any future trading and investing ideas. And also, I am not a financial advisor, so please do your own research before you buy any of these stocks. Carnival Cruise Line stock has been stuck in dry dock since late March, and the question surrounding investors right now is, has the stock put in its low, and is it time to start buying it? Now, if we knew for sure if the worst of the COVID was behind us, that answer, in my opinion, would definitely be yes. But unfortunately, we don't know that, so buying Carnival Cruise Line right now will take a little bit of a leap of faith for investors. Okay, well, first off, here's a little bit of a spoiler alert. I'm already a buyer of this stock, so my opinion will be a little biased, so please take it with a grain of salt. But I'm going to go over the reasons why I'm bullish, so hear me out, and at the end of the video, let me know what you think in the comments. This video is going to be more my opinion than anything. So instead of pulling up Yahoo Finance and reading you their balance sheet and their financials, I'll let you do that on your own time, or you can look up other content creators that do a really good job of putting out that information as well. I'm just going to go over my thought process on why I think Carnival Cruise Line is a decent buy at the moment and what I think will happen to their stock price over the next few years, as well as my plans for holding it. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to say buying Carnival Cruise Line stock is not for the faint of heart because they're bringing in next to nothing because of the COVID shutdown that has put the brakes on the travel and the leisure industry. As a result of the shutdown, Carnival Cruise Line has gone from being nicely profitable to burning approximately $650 million a month. And with ships not setting sail until at least November, the near-term outlook is terrifying for investors. Carnival Cruise Line looks like they still have approximately 12 months of liquidity to keep them going, and that's probably the only reason they're not a penny stock at the moment. But despite all of that, like I said before, I'm bullish on the long-term outlook for Carnival Cruise Line, and right now I'm going to tell you why. Reason number one is I'm confident that the world will get back to normal in less than 12 months. This COVID situation is hopefully a once-in-a-lifetime event, and once we're on the other side of it, Carnival Cruise Line should go back to business as usual. It seems everyone I talk to is extremely sick and tired of being cooped up at home and is dying to get out and do something fun. Saving rates are at the highest in recorded history, and once restrictions are lifted completely, I think travel, leisure, and entertainment should get a significant shot in the arm. Cruising has been increasing in popularity over the years, and I don't see that trend changing anytime soon. In fact, once restrictions are lifted, the cruise industry might have a hard time fulfilling pent-up demand because of lack of capacity. Reason number two. Even if the restrictions do go on for longer than I expect, I don't see a situation where it would go on long enough that it would cause Carnival Cruise Line to go bankrupt. Carnival Cruise Line is in a unique industry where there is a significant barrier to entry, meaning costs are very high to enter this market. And when you combine that with the fact that it's in the creditor's best interest to keep Carnival Cruise Line afloat, they should not have too much of a problem raising more money if they need it. Now, the lending conditions might not be the best, but it should be enough to get them through this. Plus, I highly doubt their creditors are going to want to have to take possession of all those cruise ships. The last reason why I'm confident Carnival Cruise Line will turn out to be a good investment for me is when most companies go through something like this, when business conditions get extremely tough, they start going through every part of their businesses with a fine-tooth comb and start trimming the fat, so to speak. They find unnecessary expenditures that they weren't paying enough attention to when times were good and either reduce them or eliminate them. They find better ways to run the business more efficiently and find cheaper suppliers as well. And when business finally turns up, by default, their margins usually increase because they're running their businesses more profitably. A good example of this is the airlines industry. When oil prices were well over $100 a barrel in 2008, Airlines' margins were being squeezed almost to the breaking point, but after oil prices crashed and the airlines learned to run their businesses more efficiently, their profitability in most cases were better a few years after than they had been in a very long time. And you saw some of the airline stocks have very nice price runs once investors realized this. A great example of an airline stock that made it through it was United Airlines. Now, the airlines industry kind of got hit with a double whammy because they got crushed by high oil prices and then had to deal with the Great Recession of '08 as well. But when things started to turn around for United Airlines, they turned into a lean, mean fighting machine and more money was going to the bottom line. At one point, United Airlines was trading under $3.50 a share, and it reached a high of over $90 a share last year for a gain of almost 3,000%. Now, another great example of a company that made it through the turbulence was American Airlines. They were trading for over $60 a share, and then the oil prices hit them, along with the Great Recession soon after, which sent their stock price tumbling to a low of under $2 a share. But after a few years, investors saw the adjustments that they made improve their bottom line, sending shares to a high of $60 in 2018 for a move of approximately 3,000%. Now, another sector that had to go through this were the new home builders after the housing bubble popped 15 years ago. And a great example of one of those companies was D.R. Horton. Their stock had reached a high of over $40 a share during the run-up in the mid-2000s because of the housing bubble. But when it popped and new home orders dried up, DHI stock hit a low of under $4 in 2008. But once housing picked back up, DHI carved out a bottom and a few years later started a nice uptrend. Yesterday, it hit a high of over $70 a share for a move of over 1,800% off the bottom, and it's still climbing. Another great example from the housing bubble was Meritage Homes. MTH experienced the same cycle as DHI, except their stock moves were a little bit more extreme. Now, Meritage reached a high of almost $100 a share in 2005, but then rolled over when new housing starts dried up, and the stock fell to a low of just over $5 a share in 2008. But once the economy started recovering, housing picked back up, and Meritage, as of yesterday, touched $105 a share for a move up of over 2,000%. Now, if we go back to the chart of D.R. Horton, this is what I'm pretty much expecting a future Carnival Cruise Line chart to look like. I expect it to be carving out a bottom at the moment and then move up a little bit, but not being able to find a lot of traction because of the stock crash that's still relatively fresh in people's minds. But once the coast appears to be clear, we should get a run-up phase when they're back to business as usual. They should also start paying a dividend again in a couple of years, hopefully, and should have decent dividend growth in the future as well, attracting the dividend investors back. Alright, so here's my plan for Carnival Cruise Line stock. I've added it to my M1 account, and I plan on accumulating it every week. Hopefully the stock price goes sideways for a few years and I get the opportunity to acquire a good-sized position before the run-up phase if they make it through this. Now, I'm only going to risk about 5% of my portfolio, but I'm expecting at least a 5x on my money if everything goes as planned. Now, let me know what you think about this in the comments. Do you think I'm spot on or do you think I'm way off? Also, let me know if you know anything else interesting about Carnival Cruise Line. I'd love to know more about this company. Okay, before I end the video, I just wanted to give a quick update on a trade I just completed that I did on a video last week. In the video I did on Trevena, I noted that I'd be looking to purchase some shares if it pulled back to the trend line, and it did that on August 7th, and I purchased a few hundred shares at $1.88. Trevena pulled back a little faster than I would have liked on the day I purchased it, but I bought some anyway. One of the contributing factors in the purchase is because a couple of you who follow Trevena a little closer than I do left comments telling us FDA approval was imminent. So I owe those who left comments and messages a debt of gratitude. Thank you for taking the time to do that. I ended up selling the next day at $3.24 for a one-day gain of almost 70%. Now, I think Trevena can certainly go higher, but when we get these big one-day gains like that, I like to take profit because a lot of the time these types of stock tend to pull back, giving the opportunity to lock in some profits and buy the same number of shares back cheaper, so hopefully I get the chance to do that. The big news on Trevena was their much-anticipated approval of their new pain management drug orlisarine for opioid addiction came through, and the stock popped more than 50% on the news at one point. Now, unfortunately, opioid drug use is still on the rise around the world, but orlisarine will certainly help in the fight to reduce pain for those patients coming off of it, and that could provide a nice growth stream for Trevena for years to come. Okay, folks, that's all I have for you today, so I'm going to end the video right there. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any other thoughts or subjects you'd like me to do a video about, please leave it in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.